It is a great honor to join all of you here today at NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C., and via NASA TV to be able to speak to Team NASA all across the United States of America. It is a great privilege for me to be here today, to be able to usher in, on behalf of the President of the United States, what we believe is a new chapter of renewed American leadership in space with the swearing in of the newest administrator of NASA, Jim Bridenstine. Let me thank a few people who are here, bring a few reflections, and then we'll get down to business, because I know that's what NASA is all about, not wasting a lot of time, but getting a lot done, getting it done quickly and efficiently. First and foremost, I want to thank several of our honored guests who are here. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, thank you for your great leadership on behalf of space and for being with us here today. I also want to recognize the Bridenstine family that's with us today. You'll see a little bit more of them in a few minutes, but Jim's long and distinguished career in uniform and in public service would not have been possible without the dedication of his wonderful family, his wife Michelle and their 3 children, Walker and Sarah and Grant. We are honored to have you with us here today. To all of our distinguished guests, it's a great privilege to be here at the James E. Webb Auditorium, and also be joined by the men and women of NASA of this facility and all of those scattered across the 20 centers and facilities in 13 states and 2 foreign countries. Thank you all for your time and your attention to this important moment in the life of this agency and in the life of our nation. And first and foremost, I want to bring greetings from a great champion of American leadership, a champion of the pioneering work of NASA, and a man who is absolutely committed to renewing American leadership in the boundless expanse of space. I bring greetings from the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. Since the very first day of our administration, President Trump has been keeping his promise to restore America's proud legacy and leadership in space. Last year, after it had lain dormant for nearly a quarter of a century, President Trump kept a promise that he made in the course of the campaign and relaunched the National Space Council, and it is my great honor as Vice President of the United States to serve as the chairman of the newly renewed National Space Council, and we've been busy and hard at work. Last December, President Trump also signed the first set of National Space Council's recommendations. Under Space Policy Directive 1, we will send American astronauts back to the moon, and after that, we will establish the capacity with international and commercial partners to send Americans to Mars, and NASA will lead the way. But Today marks the beginning of a new and exciting chapter for this storied agency, because President Trump has chosen a distinguished leader to serve as administrator of NASA in this new era of human space exploration, the Honorable Jim Bridenstine. This year marks NASA's 60th anniversary, and as President Trump said just over 1 year ago, before signing the first NASA Authorization Act in 7 years, in his words, quote, "For the past 6 decades, NASA's work has inspired millions of Americans to imagine distant worlds and a better future right here on Earth. For my part, I've seen the importance of your work firsthand. I've traveled on the President's behalf to meet with the men and women of NASA at Johnson and Kennedy Space Centers and at the Marshall Space Flight Center. I was also inspired to meet the newest class of astronauts not too long ago, men and women who embody the courage and pioneering spirit that's always defined this country and will continue to spur our nation on to break new barriers, set new records, and carry America to even greater heights. The work that NASA does every day is essential also to America's national security. It's essential to our prosperity. And in a very real sense, As President Trump knows well, the work of NASA speaks to the very character of our nation. No matter what role you play in this great organization, you can be assured you have an advocate and an ally and a champion in President Donald Trump. The budget the President advocated for and signed last month demonstrates our administration's commitment to ensure that you have the resources and support you need to continue to advance American leadership in space. But as all of you here at NASA and around the country understand very well, mission success depends on more than just resources alone. It requires leadership. You need clear, ambitious goals, but you also need proven leaders who can implement a practical plan and achieve it. You need schedules that are realistic, but driven by the same sense of urgency that spurred history's greatest pioneers and explorers, and a constancy of purpose that will sustain your work through triumphs and tragedies and through transitions. That's exactly the kind of leadership that you will have starting today with NASA's new administrator, Jim Bridenstine. Let me also, at Jim's urging, acknowledge someone else I just swore in a few minutes ago, a man who brings an extraordinary background in public service and private life, who also joins us here today with his wonderful family. The new Chief Financial Officer of NASA, Jeff DeWitt, is with us today. Thanks for stepping up. But about our new administrator, it's a great joy to be with you today. Following in the tradition of the leader who's memorialized by the name on this auditorium, the great James Webb, Jim Bridenstine comes from a distinguished career in the military, in public service, in management, and in business. And he will bring that full range of experience, as well as character, to his new role leading this vital agency. Jim Bridenstine began his career as a naval aviator, flying the E-2C Hawkeye off the USS Abraham Lincoln, where he performed combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. Over the course of his distinguished service, Jim gathered 1,900 flight hours and executed more than 300 carrier-arrested landings, an extraordinary accomplishment. He went on to fly the F-18 Hornet at the Naval Strike Air Warfare Center, and after 9 years of active duty, he served as the executive director of the Tulsa Air and Space Museum and Planetarium. But that didn't stop him from continuing to serve in uniform. In 2012, he was promoted Lieutenant Commander of the United States Navy Reserve while flying missions to combat drug trafficking in Central and South America. For the past 6 years, Jim has spent more time here in Washington, D.C. than he had in his prior life. He's represented the people of Oklahoma's 1st Congressional District in the House of Representatives with distinction, where he served on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee. And Jim Bridenstine played a lead role in authoring the American Space Renaissance Act and earned a reputation, quite frankly, as one of Congress's most dedicated champions of American space leadership. That's not surprising, though, given Jim's reputation for educational excellence as well. He actually triple majored as an undergraduate at Rice University. Triple majored. And earned his MBA at Cornell University. Jim's professional experiences as well will contribute to his ability to lead the extraordinary efforts of this agency. From real estate and ranching to public policy, they've given him the kind of outstanding managerial skills that made James Webb such a successful manager of NASA, and we know will lead to a great success under the administration of Jim Bridenstine. Above all, Jim brings to this position an unrivaled passion for America's space program, an unwavering respect for the more than 18,000 scientists, engineers, astronauts, lawyers, contract officers, analysts, security personnel of this great organization, men and women who each and every day make NASA the extraordinary institution that it is, cherished by everyone who carries the name American. Jim Bridenstine understands the words of NASA's vision to, quote, reach for new heights and reveal the unknown for the benefit of mankind. Jim, President Trump and I are absolutely confident that with your background in military service, with your understanding of public policy, with your experience in management, and with your love for American leadership in space, that you will bring all of those qualities to bear, along with your character, on a new chapter of renewed American leadership in space as the newest administrator of NASA.